Well, come on, do it now. I have the perfect facial expression. So many of the guys today grinding their teeth when they pose.
Hello, everyone. Mark here, Mark's Max Muscle. And this is a very interesting, actually a fan request from one of you guys. Compare the facial expressions of the past versus current. And this is in response to Arnold Schwarzenegger himself at the Arnold Classic. He was sitting down with Bob Ciccarello and he was criticizing the guy's facial expressions.
Why do they have to make the most muscular pose and go like, and why do they have to go like this when they hit all the shots?
And he was up there, making fun of everybody. But that's Arnold. That's something we all have come accustomed to, I guess. So the question is, when did this become this? Phil Heath, check out the grimace on this guy. Before I answer this question, in Mark's Max Muscle fashion, let's rewind the tape just a smidge. Right before Arnold's time, or a little bit before Arnold's time. Back in the 40s, 50s, this is Steve Reeves. Always had a serious mug. And all the guys before him as well. And you go ahead a little bit, there's Reg Park. He was after Reeves, 60s, things of that nature. Same thing, serious mug. And it evolved into Arnold Schwarzenegger, of course. And even in a pose like this, and most muscular, which can call for, a grimace, baring your fangs, things of that nature. Nothing but a serious face. And all of Arnold's opponents, I guess, or counterparts, he had Serge Nubret and Frank Zane, both possessing a statuesque facial expression. No real expression, really, whether it be a smile or a grimace. And one thing that all these guys did have in common, they were quite aesthetically pleasing. I mean, Arnold had some mass, but no real true mass monsters per se. So when was the first grimace? When was the first growl face? 1981, in my opinion, the first guy here to really be famous anyway. There might have been some guys that I never heard of. But Tom Platz, maybe not so much on the side tricep, but look at him in that abs and thigh pose. That's a true grimace for sure. So I guess Tom Platz not only ushered in the massive quads and introduced that type of quad development, lag development into bodybuilding, but it seems he also introduced the grimace to bodybuilding. Then there was Lee Haney. He, of course, was the Olympia champion. And if there's anybody to draw a certain type of fashionable things like a grimace or a growl, it would be the Olympia champion, an 8-time at that. You can plainly see the guy was baring his fangs, pretty much exactly what Arnold was saying that he had a problem with. And I got news, Arnold. If you have a problem with what Lee Haney's doing, well, you have a problem with the entire bodybuilding community. The successor, of course, of Lee Haney, Dorian Yates, he was a throwback to the 70s. He reigned from 92 to 97, not a facial expression on him, could have been a robot face. Of course, all the while, he was surrounded by grimaces. You had Flex Wheeler. Sean Ray. He was the master of the grimace. And then, of course, Kevin Levrone as well. They all possessed somewhat of baring their fangs, trying to intimidate the audience, the judges. I don't know. It was a cool thing, I guess. And then Ronnie Coleman, of course, ushered in his era, and he was not taking part, I don't think in the whole baring the fangs, grimacing. He did have some doozies, though, such as this, and I'm not exactly sure what you would call it. Boo. Something like that, I guess. I don't know how you'd spell that. Jay Cutler, in 2009, I guess he had some funky-looking faces, but before that, he was pretty standard in the facial expressions, so I guess he reintroduced the grimace with a mouth open, so a holler. And Phil Heath took the ball and pretty much ran with it, and bodybuilding never really looked back. Look at some of these facial expressions that Phil had. Definitely trying to intimidate somebody, for sure. And considering they're rewarding that type of behavior, the entire lineups were doing it. This is your your lineup from 2013, I think. Yes, 2013. It was when Kai was a little bit bigger here. Look at the faces here, guys. Even Dennis Wolf, rawr, Phil Heath, curl, snarl, and Kai Green, same thing. Let us, for one bloody second here, move these dudes down and bring up the lineup from 1973. So this is 73 to 2013. That's remarkable. We have 40 years difference here. And the physiques have evolved, for sure. But facially, I mean, what do you guys prefer? I think Arnold's kind of has a point there. They look very statuesque. They mean business without, making it look like they're trying to, growl and snarl. But, I mean, it is what it is, guys.
Oh, come on. Do it my way. Oh.
And when you look at today's lineups, just at the Olympia 2021, I hardly think the trends are going to change. You look at the third and second place participants there. You have Hattie Chupin, and Brendan Curry. 2 grimaces. And you got Big Ramy, the champion, blowing us a kiss. Of course, there's some hope for you classical-faced fans there with the 4th placed Hunter Labrada. He's got a nice stone face. But for the most part, I think the grimaces, the baring their fangs, and even, yes, sticking out your tongue, like this guy, Nick Walker. I think it is a trend here to stay for sure. And that about does it for that one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. A little bit different than the norm. And whether you do or you do not appreciate or enjoy the grimaces, the facial expressions, if you are a fan of bodybuilding, it is definitely something that you have to put up with, at least for now. Hit thumbs up on the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Have a great day.